Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. I thought I would check in and see how the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer is doing because it's indicative of the overall interest in this movie. And it's worthwhile sort of tracking because, as you can see, out for 9 days now, 136,000 upvotes, 48,000 downvotes, which is surprisingly high, I think. And as you can probably guess, people are out in force with cope. The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer isn't the flop you think it is. Well, I think it is. I actually think it is. And I think Disney have bet a lot on this, and I think it's going to flounder. Because there's multiple metrics to look at, and I think it's worthwhile exploring and just seeing whether we think it's going to be successful or not. I didn't like the trailer personally. I thought it was like pretty weak sauce. I didn't think it looked particularly good. It wasn't particularly entertaining. I think it had pretty bad CG. I just think overall, I mean, this doesn't look great. This looks like it's missing textures and things. It doesn't look like it's going to be massively successful. And I don't see the hype. I mean, in 9 days, 9.1 million views. It's not exactly doing gangbusters, is it? But let's take a look. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's look at the argument from, comicbookmovie.com, because they're trying to claim that it's not a flop. So let's take a look. Let's explore their opinion first, and then we'll kind of look into why I think this is a failure and will be a failure. So as they say, a week has come and gone since the now seemingly infamous Mandalorian and Grogu trailer was released. Trailer is a term to be used somewhat loosely when referring to Lucasfilm's inaugural tease of the upcoming film. Regardless, the trailer released to mixed reactions, and in the week since its release, the trailer nears 10 million views, but has garnered less than 150,000 likes on the official Star Wars channel. Yeah, I mean, 136,000 likes, it's not great. So the general sentiment from the Star Wars community is relatively mixed and rather lukewarm. However, the trailer was destined to fight an uphill battle regardless. Right. So your argument is it's not a flop because it was always going to be doomed. It's a pathetic argument, but okay. So the movie's first foray into the official marketing calendar is surrounded by some important context. The trailer dropped out of nowhere. Not only was it essentially shadow dropped, it was released as a band-aid to distract audiences and arguably shareholders from Disney's recent controversy involving Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe. Probably. Doesn't mean that it wouldn't do well if there was lots of hype for it, though. Just days before the late night show host was let go and Jimmy Kimmel Live pulled from the network after ill-timed and thus insensitive comments were made regarding political events. Whilst Kimmel was reinstated mid-days after, the pot was sufficiently stirred in an already tension-filled climate, and it was the day of Kimmel's reinstatement that the Mando and Grogu trailer was released. Right, okay. So criticism of the trailer has been running amok for the past week. Common faults generally revolve around the apparently subpar visuals. They are subpar. With many commenting on how the movie looks like a TV show with dull colour palettes and uninspired cinematography. But that's true. That is subjectively and objectively true. A major worry is that the movie will just be another weekly adventure for the titular heroes rather than them stepping into the greater goings-on of the Mandoverse. Many other comments note the exhaustion of Grogu's overexposure and others on the saturation of Pedro Pascal. Yeah, people are sick of Pedro. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, people are definitely sick of Pedro Pascal. So these worries are essential to the DNA of The Mandalorian, both the show and potentially the movie. You cannot have Din Djarin without Pedro Pascal. Fair. And of course, the physicality of Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder, their mere silhouettes is iconic. However, Pedro's calm, cool, sometimes cold voice is essential. Together, they are all Din, and we can't have one without the other. Grogu is also essential to the property. No, he's not actually. His story was done. You could have continued it past that, actually. So, no, it wasn't. He is not essential to the story. As it's very much a lone wolf and cub story. And a wolf needs a cub, or in this case, an adorable green baby. Granted, Lucasfilm can lean a little too much into the shtick. Have you noticed how cute Grogu is? Have you? And finally, The serialized story structure is not only essential to the DNA of Mandalorian, but Star Wars itself. It is arguably what breathed new life into the franchise after the sequels, and after all, Star Wars is always at its best when it's inspired by what initially inspired George Lucas. So their argument is it's not a flop because what you don't like is what the property is, so they're just going to do it anyway, so it's not a flop. Honest, this is absolutely probably one of those retarded arguments I've heard in my life, to be honest. That's mental. Din Djarin's latest outing. Don't criticize these things. Your criticism is invalid. Why? Because these things worked before. Okay. Din Djarin's latest outing in Season 3 was also a letdown for many fans. Yeah, so perhaps the largest general complaint is that it doesn't seem to hold a candle to Andor. Yeah, maybe. And then they continue here and say, this is where I believe there is a misalignment in expectations. That's right, guys. It's your expectations of the show, the movie. That's your fault. Okay. Mental. Now, criticism is deserved where it is warranted, but to this author, it does seem overboard at best and disingenuous at worst. Shut up, mate. So, I thought we would take a look, because this is a flop, right? Like, this is a disaster. So you can see here, like, ratings and stuff like that, right? You can see how it sort of started to fall down. Season 3 was pretty damn bad. Like, pretty damn bad. And you can see it here as well. So, as we scroll through, you got Season 1 was pretty well loved. Like, I don't think anyone would argue that Season 1 was not well loved, because it was. Season 2. Yeah, starting to go down a little bit. Season 3. What was that? 51%. Now, Rotten Tomatoes isn't the be-all and end-all, obviously. But good lord. The critics didn't like Season 3. Audiences didn't like Season 3. And it started just to fall off the face of the planet, right? Again, Season 1, you have a 93% plus 93%, right? Season 3, even the critics didn't like it that much. Because you have an 84 and a 51. I mean, this is a disaster. And then you top it off with this. So, in 9 days, only 9.1 million people have watched the trailer. So, that implies that people just aren't interested. Right? People just aren't interested in it. And to top that off, only 136,000. And it is only. That's a huge number. But not in context. So, only 136,000 people opted to like it. Now, there will be more that actually like the trailer, that didn't like the trailer, you know, thumbs upped it. But 48,000 people disliking it. That's huge. That's massive. In context, that's huge. And there'll be more people that disliked it that chose not to thumbs down it. And the comments, man alive, the comments are bad. Is this supposed to get me excited because it's not working? And we'll go to, this is just news comments. Let's go by top comments. Somehow, Razor Crest returned. Disney executives. Everyone stop talking about Jimmy Kimmel. Look at the shiny new Star Wars movie. Yeah. I'm glad Pedro is getting work again. Feels like it's been a few days since his last performance. Pedro Pascal. That's a name I haven't heard in 5 minutes. Wow, I wish I felt anything. This just looks like one episode of the show. Thank you, Star Wars fans, for finally coming to your senses and giving rational comments instead of blind overhype for mediocrity. This is the most soulless trailer I've ever seen. Finally, something with Pedro Pascal in it. There was a shortage lately. Yeah, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. There is no hype for this. This is going to bomb. Like, dramatically, it's going to fail. And it's not going to be the wake-up call for Disney. They're not going to care. But it's a huge failure waiting to happen. I don't think anyone's interested in this. And the cope is just outrageously hilarious. Oh, it's disingenuous. Is it? What are you going to do when it actually fails? What are you going to say then? You know, what are you going to say when it actually fails? Because this will fail. Unless the next trailer they drop, caveat, unless the next trailer they drop is a banger. But even then, I still don't think people are interested. I think Star Wars and Lucasfilm have wasted all their goodwill. Just my 2 cents. Leave your thoughts down below though. And if you enjoyed this video, consider hitting subscribe. It'd be really good to have you here more often. Take care though, guys. Bye-bye now.